Hello, welcome to GitLab Pipeline Series Part 4. In this series, we will learn a new concept, how to build Docker images and push the images into the GitLab Container Registry and the Docker Hub Container Registry. In our previous labs, we have already discussed some GitLab features and basic concepts like what is stages, jobs, runners, artifacts, variables, pipeline triggers. In our second lab, we have discussed about environments, cache, and dependencies. And the third lab, we have discussed about parallelization, matrix builds, inherit, extend, and include. Hope you have gone through those. If not, you can follow the playlist. I have mentioned the repos here. You can get that pipeline code here and also the YouTube playlist link I have shared here. So you can go through this and you can understand the different concepts before going to learn this, how to create the Docker images and push into GitLab and the Docker Hub Container Registry using the GitLab pipeline. Okay. So as we discussed before, that we, in order to build the applications or build a container registry, sorry, building a Docker image, we need a runner. Okay, so the runner, it may be of two types. It will be in the shared runner that is provided by GitLab, or we can create our own private or custom runner. So we have not discussed yet uh, about the private runner, but in later sessions we will discuss how to create our all create a virtual machine in either Azure or in um, AWS, and we can configure that as a runner to our GitLab. So that we'll discuss in our future sessions. Okay, but as of now, we will use the shared runner to uh, build the Docker image and push it into the content registry, either to the GitLab content registry or to the to the Docker Hub content registry. Also, we can push it into other content registry like in the Azure content registry like ACR, or we can also push it into the AWS content registry that is called ECR, is Elastic Container Registry. Okay, so that we will do that in the future labs. We will learn about how we can do that. But in this lab, basically, we'll focus on how to build the image and push it into the GitLab Container Registry and the DockerHub Container Registry. Okay, by using the shared runner. So as you know, the shared runner what GitLab provided, that is nothing. It is not a complete VM dedicated to our GitLab. It is simple a container. I mean, it is like in any cluster, it create one container. You can, I mean, it's kind of a pod where this container will be running. Okay, so that container will be used as a runner for the jobs or the stages what we try to implement in our GitLab pipeline. So the jobs basically run in a container, that is Docker container that is provided by the GitLab. But whenever we want to create build some Docker images, for that we need the tool Docker. Okay, and since the runner itself is a container, we cannot again create another Docker in that container itself. Okay, so for that, what we can use like the GitLab uses is another concept that is called Docker in Docker. Okay, D in D, that means um, we here what it can be, we can I mean uh, it will create, I mean, it will use another container that is dedicated for building the image and pushing it to the Docker container registry. Okay, so for that we'll create a Docker in Docker service container. So the service container is nothing, it is like another container that will be running in another, it is in the cluster. If you see, it is in a pod. Okay, it is running in that container. So this, you can see this D in the service container, this will basically use to build and push the Docker images, and this is the default runner. that is also the runner itself is a container, okay, and it is used to basically to execute our job, run the scripts, okay. So whenever we want to build or push the Docker images, so this container, the runner or the GitLab job container, it will request this D service container. I mean the other container, it will request to build the Docker images or push the Docker images. Okay, that means in the container it will uh, I'll use a daemon. Okay, Docker daemon. So that is, you see, like normally, as we know, right? It will create in that container. It basically used to um, create a Docker daemon, so that will help in building the Docker image and pushing the Docker image. Okay, so I think it's got clear. I mean, whenever we want to uh, we want to use the shared runner, in that case we have to use the Docker in Docker um, mm, shared container. Okay, so here in this pipeline, basically we'll use two different um, container. Okay, one container is allocated for our job to run the script, and the other container is used to build and post the Docker images. Okay, so it's nothing like you just to uh, you can see it in this picture. You can see, right, this Docker container, this container, GitLab container or job container, it will ask whenever it want to build any Docker image, it will request this daemon that is running in the D service container. Okay, so how it will be like, you can see, if you go, I'll just explain the example here. You can see uh, here you can see I have mentioned one service. This service nothing, it is a container. Okay, that is a Docker daemon. Okay, that runs the Docker daemon, and which is basically used for building the Docker image. Okay, so we need to provide this, and in the build, right, we are mentioning the runner type. Okay, the image, it should be a Docker. I mean, we need to, as I told, right, each runner is run in a container, and container is nothing. It uses an image to run that. I mean, one image that is run in a particular container. So in that case, we have to use a Docker um, image in that container. Okay, so these two things you need to just remember here. The runner should use a image of type Docker, and there is another container that we just mentioned, like services, and it is type of Docker D in D. That means it will run a Docker daemon, okay, to provide service to the uh, job container. Okay, okay. So here, so what is the use DND when? So when we use it, required actually when we want to build Docker images or run Docker containers for testing. If you want to run any Docker images, right? Then in that case, Docker container, if I run, then you have to use also this Docker in Docker mm, service. Okay. Yeah. So again, I think you already know how to build a Docker image and how to post the Docker images. Okay. See, if you see uh, in our GitLab, if you want to run this as a script, then what we have to do, we have to first log into the GitLab Container Registry. So in order to log into the container registry, we need to use this command, docker login. This is the user. Okay, so if you see the ci underscore registered underscore user, this is a predefined variable. So um, in your GitLab, um, so it will automatically take your username and it will store in this variable. So this variable is predefined, we no need to define it. And the ci registry password, this is also predefined, and how you are logged in, usually you log in to your GitLab, it will also store that. Okay, and this is your ci registry, this is the path to our content registry. I can show you here in this. If you go, okay, the ci registry, in my case, right, it is ci registry nothing, it is the registry gitlab.com. So this variable, it is a predefined variable and it stores this value, registry.gitlab.com. And ci registry underscore image, so that will store basically up to this is the ci registry, then the username and the project name. This is my project name, GitLab 04. Okay, so this is the path of our um, GitLab Container Registry. So what is this path? I can show here. If you go to here, for example, and if you go to deploy here and in Container Registry, okay, so this is the path, Container Registry. It is under, this is for project GitLab 4, and here you can see this is my path. You can see, okay, so this is path and this is our gitlab.com. Okay, so if you see, this is nothing, registry gitlab.com, then my username and the project name. Okay, now in order to store this, because I want to build a image and I have to give an image to that name, so this is basically the tag. We need to tag it in a with respect to our container registry. Okay, so this is my container registry and this is my name of the image. Okay, my app, the image name is my app, but here I'm just tagging this value to it will point to the GitLab container registry. Okay, so this is called tagging. So whenever I do docker build here and tag, okay, I'll tag it with the image name. Okay, this is the name with full name. So this is the path of my container registry and this is the name of my image. So that one I need to mention here. Okay, and here the version, this is latest, or you can put your version. It is v1 v2 v3 or 1.2000 something, whatever version you have to mention. I just mentioned in latest. Okay, so uh, this way you can build it. So before to build or push our docker image, we need to log in. So in before script, we can use this before script. Before executing any job, it will execute this one. So here it will try to log in, docker login. Okay, what it does is echo. It will echo the echo this password. Okay, my registry password, and it will pipe to the login. Okay, it is a pipe. Okay, it will include to while this docker login command will execute, like it will pass to this login. And another thing is we are passing is the user and the CI registry. CI registry is the path. Okay, nothing here. Okay, so this is my login. This way I can log into the container registry. So one thing is the name of the container registry, the user and the password. Okay, this basically I'm passing for this when I'm executing this docker login. Okay, and this is nothing which I'm just echo, I mean it is passing to this docker login. Okay, then we can build it using this two equals what I'm just trying to show you, like how, what is the value of this, what is the value of this, that I have already shown here. Okay, that I just want to print and show you in the console. Okay, in the runner itself. Okay, now while we build it, right, we'll provide the container registry path and the name of the image, that is both in this variable, and this is the version. And what is this? This is the path where my docker file is available. If in my case, right, I have created a separate folder source, this is my application, and in this application I have the docker file and this is my source code. Okay, this is the source code where this is the it is a JS file. Okay, only printing some value, and it's a package JSON. Okay, so this is my uh, source code, and here this is my docker file. So basically docker file, what it does, it helps in creating a docker image. Okay, so when the container will run, it will simply try to use a image. Okay, it will use this node image. This is the 18 alpine node image, and in the container it will execute everything under this directory. Okay, it will create a app directory under this. Whatever command will execute, this command will execute under this directory. Okay, in the container. And next it will copy the package.json from my local to the container under this app folder, and it will then run npm install. So all dependencies, like whatever package.json, it has some dependency, right? So it will include all these dependencies. Okay, then what I'm doing, copy dot dot, that means eh, all other files, I mean except this package.json, right, all other files related to my source, that will be copied to the under the app folder. Okay, and when the container first time it will start, it will execute this command node index.js. It will run this index.js and it will print that value. Okay, so hope it is clear how this image, I mean in the container, how it got executed. Okay, so the container will use this image. Under this it will create a folder this, and it will copy this file. It will copy this source code, I mean the package, to the folder, and deploy, run this, I mean in dependencies npm install. It will do copy any source code, other uh, packages, files from this, then it will run this. Okay, so this way it will create the Docker image. Yeah, so then we need to provide this path in our lab here, I mean in this path. Suppose, usually is in some cases we will just put dot. Dot means it is the current directory. If the Docker file belongs to this directory GitLab 04, okay, not in the source, then we can simply put here dot. Okay, since in my case it is available in under source, I just provide this dot source src. Okay, then this Docker images, right, it will just print what are the images are available, and Docker push this whatever the image it got created, right, this will, it will push. Where it will push? It will push to the um, content registry, which we have already logged in using this. Okay, so this is this is the pipeline that it does, and only main, it means it this pipeline get executed when it will run from the main branch only. Okay, hope it is clear. Now let go to the pipeline. It will go GitLab 04, and if you go to pipeline, yeah, it is, I have run uh, before to it. So let me clear the runner caches here. Okay, so let me run it, trigger the pipeline again. Okay, no need to pass any variable here dynamically, so just run it. Now it started. If you go to the runner, so it's trying to running with GitLab runner this. Okay, 18.4 something, the latest Docker. So using Docker executor with image Docker last test, that what I have mentioned here, right? This, it is using this. Okay, so this is using Docker executor. So basically the runners, we can call it executor. So there are different kind of executor. We can use shell executor, Docker executor, like that. Okay, so now it's done. Then it is starting the service Docker d in d, I mean, then it will create another container. Okay, so it is trying to connect, creating this Docker d in d. So this is for creating the, I mean building the Docker images. So it, this is the steps that it is creating, the setting up the d in the container. Okay, once that is done, then it will try to log in. Okay, next step it will try to log in to the Docker container. So not Docker container, GitLab Container Registry. So here it will, and login succeed, right? It is login is success. Then it will try to build the Docker image here. Before that, it is try to print these two values. Okay, so if you come here, you can see the CI registry. Okay, it is nothing, CI registry this value. Okay, and CI registry image name is nothing, it is the whole, I mean username with the project name. Okay, so once that is done, it will build that. Okay, with this name. So if you see, it is try to, it will use the uh, it will use the Docker file, and using that it will try to create the image. So you can see here, these are the steps it's doing while uh, building the Docker image. Okay, you can see creating, using the working directory, then copying this package JSON file, then npm install is doing. Okay, then copying the other source files. Okay, then at the end it is completing, and image, it's trying to display the image. If you see uh, here, I just mentioned Docker images. This command, it try to print all the images that is available in that system. Okay, I mean in the runner itself. Okay, so here it Docker images, it prints the values, like uh, it print the ID, this. So the ID is this. Okay, and other information like size and content, everything it is printing here. So this is our name. Okay, this is the image that we just created. Okay, now this will again get pushed using this command docker push, and same name whatever we have just created here, latest with latest version that it try to push. Okay, so it pushed. So where it will push? It will push to our um, GitLab Container Registry. Okay, let's go to the GitLab Container Registry here. Okay, now if I'll refresh it, okay, let me just see. Okay, it taking time. Okay, you can see here uh, published 4 minutes ago. Okay, so this one, right, it got created just 4 minutes before, right? Suppose you want to create with some, suppose you modified your code and you want to create a new version, right? 1.0.0. Okay, suppose you want to create this version and you want to post this. Let's see how it does. Okay, let me save this and I'll push it to the repository. Then it will automatically trigger again the pipeline, right? So let's go to the pipeline. Okay, it's still, yeah, it is now synced, so it should now, just now you started. Okay, so the same thing it will do, but one thing we'll see here, during creating the docker image it will be faster, because in this time it will um, cache the few of the docker file commands. Okay, it will take a couple of minutes to do this. Okay, let it continue. At the same time, let us discuss how we can push it into the uh, Docker Hub. Okay, so like we can also Docker Hub is a public content registry. We can also create our Docker images and we can push to Docker Hub as well. So in order to do that one, what you can do is you can, okay, now you can see it is completed. Okay, and if you go to the container registry and let's refresh it, you can see it got created with version 100. Okay, name is my app, this is my image, but my image had multiple version 100 and latest, just before we have created it, published in 41 seconds ago. Okay, now let's so in order to build and push the docker images into the docker hub, I have created another pipeline, GitLab pipeline. So let me just rename this pipeline to as one. Okay, and I'll rename this to GitLab CI. Okay, so if you here you can see it is, everything is almost same here, but in this case we need to, the login, for our login we need to use a Docker Hub token instead of password. We can use the Docker Hub token, and the path, the Docker Hub username we need to mention here. Okay, so if we'll, I can show here, if I go to my Docker Hub, right, and you can go here and account setting. Okay, so here if you want to create a personal token here, just now I have created one token. What you can do, you can simply generate a token here, give some name here. Okay, uh, this public repo, whatever you give, like it, you can give read, right? Okay, now uh, suppose new token name. Okay, something you give and just generate. So what it will provide, this is my username. Okay, my Docker Hub username, and this is my token, right? So these two things we have to, this username and this token name, you need to keep in the variable. So you need to go to the variable here, like you can, okay, so build, okay, operate, no, where will create the variable pipeline. Okay, sorry, setting, you can go to Great. Setting, and in setting CI/CD, okay, in CI/CD, you need to go to variables. You can see you can create two variables here. I have already discussed how to create the variable. It is very easy. Just create, use add variable here. Okay, provide the variable name here and the value here. Okay, and save it. And if you want to put any type or you want to visible or mask, you can also select from here. So I have created my Docker Hub token here. Okay, and the Docker Hub username. My username is nothing that I have shown you here is it is my username this, and this is my token name. So that we need to create and as a variable. So the variable names are Docker Hub token underscore token and Docker Hub username, right? So these two, once we created this, it is same everything like we are using the service Docker DND, and this is my uh, Docker Hub username. I mean the path. It will point to my Docker Hub container registry, and this is the image name. And login is same, like I'm passing this token to this Docker while logging to Docker login, and this is my Docker username. Okay, and same step I'm doing here. I'm just printing the value. You can see it will print my username here, and this is for sample. It's not necessary to use here, just to showcase like okay, what is the variable it contains. Then it will build the Docker image. Okay, I'm mentioning the path here because my Docker file is there. Okay, and it is the same my app and latest. Okay, let me create with new because I have already pushed it. Let me push it with version 1.0.0. Okay, so 0. Okay, let push this also 1.0.0. Okay, okay, so yeah, so in this Docker image tag, Docker image. Okay, so let it be with this value. Okay, now let me save this and let me again trigger this by commenting this code. So now this pipeline will push this Docker image to my Docker Hub instead of the GitLab content GitLab Container Registry. Okay, let's go to the pipeline. It started, it's pending, it shows pending. Now it started. Okay, it will do the same steps, but the container registry path is different. In this case, it is Docker Hub. It will take few minutes to do that. So if you come to my Docker Hub here, this is my Docker Hub, this is my user ID. I have just before posted 1 hour. Now we'll see. It should post with the same image, my app with a different version. If you go inside this, right, we can see, okay, instead of latest, it is taking this ID as we mentioned here. Docker image. Okay, let's see how it does here. See here. Okay, let me just check how the build is completed. Okay, once it's done, let me just refresh it. Repository. So 1 minutes ago it updated here. Okay, so it's created just 1 hour before, and this is the tag, and this is tag it is taking here as we mentioned image this, but we mentioned the Docker image. Okay, here we mentioned this, it is taking from here. Okay, let me just remove this one. Instead of that, let me put this one simply and try it once again. Okay, well, Docker be this correct. Okay, don't do this. Then Docker post this image. Yeah, it should be same as. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, let me save and trigger it. Okay, next it should trigger the pipeline. Still syncing. So that is done now. It will create another. It will run the pipeline again. Yeah, it started. Yeah, now it's creating the image. And so okay, so here what we learn basically, we have using the uh, DMD service, we are able to create Docker images, and we able to push it into the Docker container, I mean GitLab Container Registry and Docker Hub Container Registry. Okay, so that is now done. Now let's go to my Docker Hub. Okay, my app. Okay, you can see here it is just now pushed into the container registry. Okay, yeah, so this way we can do it we can push in future lab. We'll see how we can build our own application, create the Docker images, push it to content registry, and we can deploy it to different application services like Kubernetes clusters and in Azure web applications, or container instances that we'll learn in our future classes. Okay, yeah, that's all for this lab. Thank you so much for watching this. Please um, like this video and share and subscribe. Thank you so much. We'll see you in next lab.